Hey everybody, Senior Sedge here, and I'm going to do a real brief video on how you can reduce language anxiety in your classroom. Language anxiety is a hindrance to your learners if they want to acquire Spanish. Krashen calls it the affective filter, which is explained to me as like a Venetian blinds. You got the input coming into your classroom really well, and your kids, your learners, are kind of like Venetian blinds. The more relaxed and enjoyable they feel, those Venetian blinds are letting in all that input. The more anxious, the more worried they become, the Venetian blinds kind of like block the input. And so I'm just going to do a real quick video here showing some things, some interventions you can do right from day one on how to get your learners to relax, how to reduce language anxiety. So enjoy. As always, if there's questions, ask some questions for me. Everybody get one of these. Do you see what you're supposed to do with it? If you look at my model there, if you need a marker or a clipboard, there's that's available. So I just showed you a few seconds of the pre-class time. The bell hasn't rung yet, and I just wanted to give you a picture of what that moment looks like and sounds like. But one of the best things you can do to reduce language anxiety is actually before class even starts, and that's when I create a seating chart. And now I know this may be controversial, and some language teachers say I don't care where they sit, but especially level one freshmen, I really find a seating chart to be so helpful because they're coming into high school and they know some students, some other students, they don't know others, and so there's high anxiety about am I in the right class and who am I going to sit by and who am I going to sit with and who are my friends in this class. And it's just a great way when you go in earlier and you write their name down so they know that their name is there, and then you give them a seat. So immediately when they come in the room, they've found their name, they find where they sit, and they don't have the anxiety of which friends will I sit with, is there friends in my class. They just are there. So the next thing you'll do is you're going to be then at the door with a smile, and as your students come into the room, you're saying, hey, Spanish 1, just to double check to make sure they know that they are, yes, indeed, in the right class. And you're then going to tell them, find your name on the seating chart, and then you're going to give them immediate work to do. Because I don't want them just to have to sit down and anxiously look at who's in my classroom and who's not in my classroom. I want them to have the option to actually begin working on something. So this is what I'm handing each one of my learners as they come through the door. It's something that they can work on. This is featured in the Card Talk video. If you haven't checked that video out, I recommend it. Then they find their seat, they sit down, they can get working. Also, don't greet them in your target language. You don't have to shoot their anxiety up real high with incomprehensible language. Just say hello in English or whatever your L1 is in the classroom, and just show them that you're going to be kind. You're going to make sure things are comprehensible right from the very beginning. Okay, so we're going to do Introduction to Spanish here, and I want you to try to follow these 4 rules. Listen with the intent to understand. So you're going to listen and try to understand what's going on in class. One person speaks, everybody else listens. You're not a bunch of 14-year-olds, so I assume that will go easily. Clarify when the teacher's not clear. If you don't understand, it's my fault. But if you don't tell me, then it's your fault. So anytime you don't understand, please do this. Can you guys show me? Okay, and we'll get there, and don't be afraid, because I forget all the time how hard it is to learn a new language. Because I've spoken Spanish now for like 20 years, so it just comes natural to me. But I forget what it's like to be a learner and trying to process things. So be quick to do that. And finally, good posture, eye contact. I can usually tell who's going to do fine in class with my freshmen. You guys will all do great. But with my freshmen, the kids that are like, their eyes are like moving all the time, I know they'll do fine. And the kids that kind of like look down, it's going to be harder for them. So keep those eyes moving, right? So here are the rules that I just went through on the wall with my learners that first moment. And this is really important for reducing language anxiety because it immediately gives people some guide, or gives your learners some guidelines of what's expected from them and what's expected from the teacher as well. Notice how I put the emphasis on me, where it says here with rule number 3, clarify when the teacher's not clear. It doesn't say clarify when you don't understand, although that could easily be a rule as well. But I want my learners to understand that it's my job to make the language comprehensible, and it's their job to tell me when the language is incomprehensible. And just notice on that little note there where I tell them, because I've already acquired Spanish or I've acquired a new language, I often forget what it's like when you're in those beginning stages and you have to have time to process and you have to have some scaffolding there to help you out. And also notice that I drew attention to eye contact. I've seen this over the years. If I can encourage my kiddos to look at what's happening, to move their eyes around the room to translations, they are going to be more successful. So I'll post these on the website as well, and hopefully that can help you out with lowering anxiety in your classroom as well.
So clase, Glenn toca la guitarra. Okay. If you didn't understand what I said, you need to go like this. Thank you.
Something
That's
about
awesome.
guitar.
Okay, awesome. Very good. If you did understand what I said, I want you to go, oh.
So bam, right there from the very beginning, I intentionally am being a little bit vague. I'm intentionally being a little bit incomprehensible so we can immediately establish the norms. If you don't understand, you need to tell me. If you do understand, go, oh. That way, learners are responsible for every statement, every question throughout the class. This is perfect formative assessment because you're checking for comprehensibility every time. Also, I want you to notice how I'm starting to praise the learners who tell me that they don't understand. And when they do that, I'm demonstrably happy and I'm saying, oh, thank you for doing that. Because in other classes, you're being praised for when you do understand something. Here, I want to demonstrate to learners, I'm going to really praise and be so grateful and thankful for the learners who don't understand. So check that out as we work through this first little story.
I think you did. You're not sure. Clarify when the teacher's not clear.
Well, as you said that, right? So like this doesn't fit me, that doesn't fit me, so I know you both at the same time.
Okay, great. Blessing. Glenn toca la guitarra.
Play guitar.
I'm like guitar though.
Just say, oh, if you understand. If you don't. Clase, Glenn toca la guitarra.
What is toca?
It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for doing that. If you see one person do it in class, will you do it too? Just so that way people don't feel like, oh, I'm the only one not getting it. Because I promise if there's one person that's not getting it, there's at least like 8 other people that aren't getting it. Clase. Glenn toca la guitarra. Glenn toca la guitarra, sí o no. Sí o no. Glenn toca la guitarra. No me dice.
Sí.
Sí. Glenn toca la guitarra. Glenn toca la guitarra. Glenn toca el saxofono.
No.
¿Tú tocas el saxofono?
No.
No, Glenn no toca el saxofono.
So we're just a couple minutes into class, and I just want you to catch a couple of things to reduce language anxiety. Number one, I'm being very comprehensible. How? I've written the translation up on the board for our first line. I'm doing the TPR motions for the verb that we're looking at in this context is plays. And I have some props to act things out. So a lot of times you'll hear language teachers saying like, oh, your learners have to be comfortable with incomprehensibility. And that may be true later on, but from day one, class one, story one, make sure you're comprehensible. Do everything you can to scaffold that language. Do everything you can to make it comprehensible. You don't want learners feeling anxious and not feeling that there's a path for comprehension. So you're giving them a path for comprehension, and you're also just making the language comprehensible through translation, through acting it out, and through TPR gestures.
Glenn toca la guitarra. Glenn toca la guitarra. Okay. Glenn toca la guitarra. Glenn toca la guitarra. Bien o mal.
Así.
Así. Okay, really important rule in this class. Everybody's awesome. Everybody's awesome. Everybody does great. Everybody's handsome. Everybody wins. Everybody's the best at everything. Okay? Here's the next question. Same question. Clase, Glenn toca la guitarra. Glenn toca la guitarra. Bien o mal? Bien. Glenn toca la guitarra bien.
So crazy important right there. You're not going to allow learners to say that they're not good guitar players or not good basketball players or not good at drawing or artists. Everybody is going to be awesome in our class. And it's just a rule. You establish that rule as a class. We don't allow negative self-talk. We don't allow talk negative towards any other learners. Everybody is awesome. Everybody's the best. Now, later on, you can do some gentle teasing if learners are friends, but from day one, lesson one, story one, we'll just establish that right now. Everybody's better than the best expert at whatever field there is.
Dana, tú, ¿tocas la guitarra? No, Dana, no. Dana no toca la guitarra.
Wow.
Liz, Elizabeth, ¿tú tocas la guitarra? No, tú no toques la guitarra. Tú no toques la guitarra. And tú,
No toque la
tú
guitarra.
no toques la guitarra. Pero Glenn toque la guitarra. Glenn toque la guitarra. Clase. Glenn toca la guitarra mal. No, Glenn no toca la guitarra mal. Glenn toca la guitarra
Bien.
bien. Glenn toca la guitarra como Jimi Hendrix. Glenn toca la guitarra como Jimi Hendrix. ¡Woo! Hannah, ¿tú tocas la guitarra? No. Amanda, ¿tú tocas la guitarra? No, tú no toques la guitarra. ¿Tú no toques la guitarra? Yo toco la guitarra. Yo toco la guitarra. Mira. Yo toco la guitarra.
Bien.
Un aplauso. Clase. Glenn toca la guitarra bien. Yo toco la guitarra mal.
No.
No. The teacher can be bad. Everybody. No. Glenn toca la guitarra bien. Yo toco la guitarra mal. Glenn toca mejor. Glenn toca mejor. Glenn, blessing. Glenn toca la guitarra como Jimi Hendrix. ¿Sí o no? ¿Sí o no? Sí. Y ajá. Glenn toca la guitarra como Jimi Hendrix y Glenn toca la guitarra mejor que Jimi Hendrix. Terry, that's a super long sentence. Do you think you could translate that? I think you can translate that. Ready? Okay. See if you can translate this into English. Glenn toca la guitarra como Jimi Hendrix. Y Glenn toca la guitarra mejor que Jimi Hendrix.
Glenn plays the guitar like Jimi Hendrix and better than Jimi Hendrix.
Yes. Will you give Terry an amazing fireworks? Hey! Will you give Terry an amazing fireworks applause? 1, 2, 3.
Snap.
Glenn toca la guitarra. Bien, bien. But now, I want to get something weird. Because if you want to really remember something, you have to think of something strange and something weird. For example, if my wife tells me I have to pick up something from Kroger on the way home, I imagine like me and Lady Gaga picking up the bread. Because it's just like gets stuck in my brain, right? So now I want to create something together as a class, and your job is to come up with weird things. Okay?
Well, we're going to stop you right there, Senior Sedge, because not only is it good for memory devices, but also co-creating something together builds community. So with your learners, immediately begin co-creating something together to build a sense of community, working shoulder to shoulder on something apart from yourselves.
So here's my question. Glenn, toca la guitarra. Glenn, toca la guitarra. Glenn, toca la guitarra. Con quién? Con quién? Con quién? Glenn toca la guitarra. Con quién? So now I want you to come up with a weird suggestion. Glenn plays the guitar. Everybody come up with
Señor
something.
Sigel.
Señor Sancho.
Barney.
Con Barney. El dinosaurio toca la guitarra. Más ideas, más.
El burro.
El burro toca la guitarra.
Jesús Cristo.
Jesucristo toca la guitarra.
Monkey.
Con King Kong. Glenn toca la guitarra con King Kong. Somebody, un mono, a monkey? Un mono. Glenn toca la guitarra con un mono. If you haven't come up with something, you have come up with something.
Marie Antoinette.
Con
Wow.
Maria Antoinette. Maria Antoinette toca la guitarra. Okay. Con Godzilla. Toca la guitarra Glenn, toca la guitarra con Godzilla.
I
Classic.
was actually thinking Godzilla as well.
Increíble. Conexión. Classic. Glenn. Toca la guitarra. Con. Everybody show me con.
Con.
Con. What's con mean?
With.
Yeah, con. Glenn. Toca la guitarra con Barney.
Yeah.
Glenn toca la guitarra con Barney. I love you. Glenn toca la guitarra con Barney. Glenn toca la guitarra con Barney. ¿Dónde? Glenn toca la guitarra con Barney. ¿Dónde? Remember something weird. Something you would normally play guitar with Barney at. Con the in El Mariana Trench. Toca la guitarra con Barney, okay?
Castle.
En un castillo toca la guitarra con Barney. The beach. En la playa. En la playa toca la guitarra.
The French Quarter.
En el French Quarter en Nuevo Orleans.
Mhm.
Ajá, toca la guitarra con Barney in the French Quarter. Me gusta. ¿Más?
The dairy aisle at Kroger.
En la sección de leche en Kroger. En la sección de leche en Kroger. Clase. Glenn toca la guitarra con Barney in El French Quarter. Do you understand? Go. Oh, no, you don't understand. All right. You got this next one, Stacy? Translate for me. Glenn toca la guitarra con Barney en el French Quarter.
Glenn plays the guitar with Barney in the French Quarter.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Glenn toca la guitarra con Barney in the French Quarter. Will you guys give her 3 rounds of applause? 1, 2, 3. Muy bien, muy bien. Okay. Glenn toca la guitarra con Barney en el French Quarter. Bien, bien. ¿Sí? Barney toca la guitarra? No, no. Barney no. Barney no toca la guitarra. Barney canta. Barney canta. Yes, muy bien. Ajá. Barney canta. Barney canta. Glenn toca la guitarra y Barney canta. La la la. Will you guys all show me la la? You will all show me canta. La la la. Will you show me toca la guitarra? Will you show me con? Okay, clase. Canta, My Heart Will Go On by Selena Dion. Near, far, with. Carissa, I just didn't feel like you were into it. Come on.
You can sing.
Okay. Clase, muy bien. Glenn toca la guitarra y Barney canta. ¿Sí? Okay. In el French Quarter. Okay. Que canta Barney. Barney canta. Barney canta. Que. Glenn toca. Que.
What song are we playing?
Ajá. Que canta. Que canta Barney. Que toca Glenn.
ABC.
Ah, el
A, B, C.
alfabeto. A, B, C, D. ¿Sí? Okay. Más, more. I need more.
Bitty bitty bum bum.
Bitty bitty bum bum.
Baby shark.
I was also thinking that.
Tiburon baby. Ajá, ajá.
How else can you reduce language anxiety in class? Laugh. Even if it's not that funny. I've been doing this for like 10 years. Baby Shark song's not funny anymore. But that's okay. I'm still going to laugh. I'm still going to give my learners permission to laugh and try to create an environment where laughter is okay, because laughter reduces anxiety.
Tiburon. Like 100 Tiburon.
Ajá. Tiburon.
Hot dog dance.
Hot dog dance. Okay. Interesante.
Achy breaky heart.
Achy breaky heart.
Yeah.
Un aplauso para Amanda. Yes, exactamente. Exactamente. Glenn toca la guitarra, Achy breaky heart, y Barney canta Achy breaky heart in Chicago.
No.
No? No. In the French Quarter. In the French Quarter. Okay.
Okay, so that ends up being the story. Glenn plays the guitar with Barney in the French Quarter, and they all sing Achy Breaky Heart. I'll bring the actors up a little later, and they will act it out, and we all sing together, and it's just a great community building moment with low anxiety. But I want to draw your attention right now to a couple things that didn't happen. Actually, 3 things that didn't happen. Number 1, I'm not going through the syllabus. In all the other classes, day 1, students are handed a syllabus, and teachers are just building anxiety upon anxiety of all the things that they're going to have to do for the semester. Meanwhile, in Spanish, we're singing Achy Breaky Heart with dinosaurs in the French Quarter. And so I just want you to draw attention to that. you do want to teach the syllabus one day, and one time I was required to, and I had to get special permission to not do it on day one. But avoid it day one. Just celebrate some time where you guys can co-create something together and have some fun. The next thing I wanted you to notice is that I wasn't doing forced output. I wasn't saying repeat after me and forcing learners to speak Spanish. That is the number one anxiety-causing issue in language classes, and you can just avoid it. Forced output does not mean your learners are acquiring anything. We acquire through input. Output is something that we can celebrate and we can encourage, but it's not something that we're going to require. And then finally, when learners are spontaneously producing language, when they are giving out some output in class, you celebrate it and you don't correct it. Error correction and SLA research is a mixed bag. Just celebrate it. If you want to recast it and say it correctly, great. But even then, that's okay. They're communicating. Celebrate all communication. So this was my video on reducing language anxiety in your classes. I hope that it's helpful. And this is all ways that we're going to continue to grow as we find ways to best provide an environment for our learners to acquire Spanish. And as always, ask questions. I'd love to try to answer them. Thanks so much for watching the video.
Toca la guitarra y Barney canta Achy Breaky Heart.
I'm trying to figure out that second chord. But it was, don't sell my heart, my achy breaky heart. I just don't think it understand. And if you sell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill this man.
¡Un aplauso! ¡Increíble! ¡Fantástico! Muchas gracias, muchas gracias. Okay.